When I first got my license to drive, I was filled with excitement. My parents became a little less strict on me, and I was finally able to hang out with my friends pretty much whenever I wanted. Then I realized that there was a law for minors that we couldn't stay out between 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. My parents told me that they didn't really care how late I stayed out as long as I got home before they went to sleep, and I kept them updated on where I was at. I started to realize that if my parents didn't care much about this law, then why is it even there? Today, I will be reasoning with you why the Curfew for Minors law should be revoked. Let's talk about the consequences of breaking this law. Laws.com states that there are 3 categories for which the curfew law has been established: juvenile, emergency, and business. Juvenile curfews will restrict minors from certain areas. It is forced from lower levels of government, such as state or local. Emergency laws are forced on all levels of government, being local, state, and national. This law is only enforced when a natural disaster strikes. Business curfew laws include when a business needs to close during given hours. It is required for safety for the employees and the business itself. I want my main focus to be on the juvenile curfews. The problem with this law, according to greengarage.com, is that it is unconstitutional and there is major discrimination. The fact that this law exists to prevent rebellious kids from acting out means that the good kids are being punished for crimes they didn't even commit. Some families don't have the luxury of their parents being able to support their own kids, so some minors need to have jobs and stay out late for extra hours. I know that parents can feel at peace when their children under 18 are at home and not out on the streets late at night. But what makes them so sure that their child won't sneak out later? I feel as though when adults put more restrictions on children, it causes them to act out more. But if they didn't have any and the parents just gave them some trust, they would hopefully have some common sense and not break any of the laws. If my opinion is true, how satisfying would it feel to have less minors acting out in the middle of the night? American Academy of Pediatrics states that your reaction matters. If your child is talking back to you and you explode, they will become way more disobedient in life rather than if you stay calm and consistent. They will eventually learn to become more respectful towards you and other people in today's society. Another example is when parents put a lot of pressure on their children to do the correct thing. That can be extremely overwhelming, especially for minors. They will have the urge to lash out and get into some troublemaking, especially at night. Let's imagine the future after the law becomes extinct. The streets could honestly be a lot safer. Yes, there will still be crimes that will be committed, but the decrease in minors committing the crimes at night will happen. Parents should still do what they believe is right for their children. They could even put a tracking app on their phones if they were really that worried. Minors that need to support their family won't have to stop working at 10 p.m. in order to be home at 11. They can gain more hours, which will increase the amount of money they get each paycheck. So, how do we get this law to be removed? In conclusion, Senator Laura Tylen states that in order to remove a law, it goes through the same process as creating one. House.gov shares that at first, a representative sponsors a bill that came from an idea. The bill then goes to an assigned committee for them to look over and discuss. If the committee likes the idea, they'll put a date on a calendar for it to be voted on, debated, or amended. If the bill is passed by the majority, the bill then gets moved over to be discussed. If the committee likes the idea, they'll put a date on a calendar for it to be debated on. If the bill is passed by the majority, it moves to Senate. Then the Senate does the same process. If it is then passed by the majority again, then there is a conference meeting of the Committee of House and Senate members. They work out any differences they have and send the bill back to House and Senate for approval. The government printing office prints the revised bill, and lastly, the president has 10 days to sign or veto the enrolled bill. Thank you.